Want to see me make this delicious pork and beef stuffing? Watch this video. Don't forget to check back over the next few days for these Thanksgiving recipes. Hi everyone! I'd like to take a minute before we get started to talk to you about adoption. If you're not interested, please go to the description below and under chapters click the Let's Get Cooking link. It'll take you right to the cooking. As some of you may or may not know, our son Nathan is adopted. So adoption is something near and dear to our family's heart. And November is National Adoption Month. Before each video this month, I'm going to share with you a video that promotes a hopeful adoptive family from an adoption support group that my wife and I are part of. The group helps families pre- and post-adoption with questions, emotional support, friendship. It's a great group. Most of these families are going down the path of what's called private adoption. Private adoption is where you promote yourself, whether it be in social media, print advertisements in newspapers, or other online venues, in the hopes that an expectant mother who is thinking about placing their child for adoption finds the match with their hopeful adoptive family. Please watch this video, and if you know somebody who's expecting and thinking about placing the child for adoption, please share this video with them. There's also a link in the description below to this hopeful family's website. Hello and welcome to Ben's Ramblings, recipes, reviews, and ramblings. I've got another Thanksgiving side dish for you, sausage and ground beef stuffing. We're going to start with some butter, onions, and celery. We'll add to it some ground beef, some sausage meat, sage, thyme, some bread, some chicken stock. Let's get started. We're going to start with half a stick of butter. Get that melted down. You want to help me? All right, Nathan's gonna come and help.
Are you ready to look?
This is one large onion.
I'll do
Okay, listen to me. This is very hot. I just want you to be careful and do it with me. Okay? Well, it's very hot. Are you okay? About the same amount of celery, maybe a cup or so of celery. Okay? Okay, so this is one large onion and about the same amount of celery, maybe a cup and a half each. We just want these to soften down. We're not trying to brown them at all. So we'll cook them over medium-low heat and let them soften up. Then we'll remove them and we'll cook our sausage and our ground beef. Okay, the onions and celery are nice and soft. I'm gonna take them out, put them in a bowl for now, and we're gonna start browning off our sausage and then our ground beef. So this is just Italian sausage from our local butcher. It's got a fennel. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. It's really good Italian sausage. We use this in our sauce. We use it on the grill to make sausage sandwiches, sausage and broccoli rabe. It's a great all-around Italian sausage. It uses ground fennel, not big fennel pieces. I know a lot of people don't like that. Even my wife, who doesn't care for fennel in the sausage, likes this sausage. This is a little under 1.5 pounds, and the ground beef is just over 1.5 pounds, or actually just under 1.5 pounds as well. Just want to break it up. This was in casings. I just slit the casings down the side and pulled the meat out. If you have loose sausage meat, that would work as well. Some people like it with breakfast sausage in a tube, like a Jones, or Bob Evans sells, I believe, a sausage in a tube, a breakfast sausage. So whatever you like, you can use. Both my wife's family and my family are Italian, or at least partly Italian, and this is what we like in our stuffing. You want to break the sausage up. You don't want it in giant pieces. So that's all I'm doing here is going through, breaking up some of those bigger pieces. You don't want it completely crumbled. You know, you don't want it the consistency of like a ground beef or taco meat. But you don't want, you know, half a sausage to end up in the middle of the stuffing. The sausage is cooked pretty much all the way through. I'm going to take it off the heat, put it into the bowl with the onions and the celery. And we do not want to lose all of the flavor that's in the bottom of this pan. I'm going to get this nice and hot, and I'm going to deglaze the pan with some chicken broth. And we're going to scrape all these bits up. And I'm going to dump that right into the same bowl. I'm going to add some olive oil, a couple tablespoons, get that all around. And we're going to add our 1.5 pounds or so of ground beef. This is 80-20. I'm draining some of the fat, or I drained some of the fat because it was so fatty. I left some in. I don't want it super dry. I think this is good. I'm going to shut this heat off. I'm going to pour this in with the rest of the ingredients we've already cooked. This pan's not too bad. I'm not going to bother deglazing it. We'll just put this off to the side. Okay, stir all these ingredients together. All right. I'm using Arnold unseasoned cube stuffing. I'm going to add 1 bag. I have 2 bags. We'll add 1 bag at a time and we'll see how it works out. We may need a bigger bowl if we have to go to that second bag. Mix this all in and we're going to pour over some chicken broth. Should I heat the chicken broth, do you think? Before we add the chicken broth, I'm going to add in some spices. This is about a half a teaspoon of thyme. We'll give everything a taste. We may need to add more. And a half a teaspoon of ground sage. We're also going to do some salt. And some black pepper. And a 1/4 cup of fresh chopped parsley. Mix this in, then we'll add the broth and we'll see how it looks. We'll add a cup at a time, and if it needs more, we'll add a little bit more. Same goes with the seasoning. We'll taste everything once it's all mixed together, and we'll see if it needs more seasoning. It's just going to be easier to add it in now before we add the broth and make it kind of clump together. All right, let's add a cup of broth. Again, this is just a box of chicken broth. You could put mushrooms in here. I know people like to put apples. You know, the apples go great with the sausage. Raisins, whatever you like. I think maybe just a little bit more liquid. I'm going to do another half a cup. So here's another half a cup of chicken broth. I don't want it super, super wet. I don't want the bread to completely break down. These were unseasoned breadcrumbs. You could, of course, use your own season. You could use seasoned, but I prefer to control the taste myself. The spices we add. Making sure it's all stirred in. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to give it a little bit of a taste, and then we'll add more seasoning if we need to. Again, the sausage and the beef are basically cooked all the way through at this point. It's good. I definitely think we can add some more thyme and sage. I'm going to add the sage. I'll add another half a teaspoon. This is a 1/4 teaspoon measuring spoon. Doesn't have to be exact. And same with the thyme. Another half a teaspoon. You could absolutely use poultry seasoning, which is a bunch of spices already all pre-mixed. Just want to make sure we mix this all in really good because we just put that on top. I'm going to also put another 1/4 cup of broth in. And that should be good. That's a 1 3/4 cups of broth. We have the fat from the sausage and some of the ground beef fat. And we have that half a stick of butter we started with for the onions and this celery. Get that last bit of broth all mixed in. You can see it's kind of clumping up a little bit, but it's not a whole compacted ball. It's not super, super wet. The bread is still somewhat together. And we're just going to put it now in a, we're going to put it in a glass Pyrex dish. All right, and it's going to go into the oven at 350 for probably half an hour or so. The nice thing about this is you can take it at this point if you wanted, throw it in the refrigerator, or let it cool off a little bit, throw it in the refrigerator, and then bake it the next day. So if you want to make this ahead of time, you don't have to worry about making it the day of Thanksgiving. All right, let's put it in the oven. Don't forget to check back over the next few days for these Thanksgiving recipes. Let's give the stuffing a try. That's absolutely delicious. The pork and the beef, the bread's not too wet. It's a little crunchy from being in the oven. Absolutely perfect. Give this a try. If you do, comment down below. Let me know how you like it. As always, if you do like it, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. Thanks a lot. See you next time.